I want to go back to this special election in Illinois, filling the seat vacated by Jesse Jackson Jr. Because a lot at the time there was a lot made of the $1 to $2 million that the Bloomberg PAC fighting for some type of sensible gun regulation played in this election. But as far as I could tell, one of the untold stories was the work of organizations like CREDO Action and others, the folks at Daily Kos and others who were mobilizing on the ground. Tell us about what CREDO's role in that special election.
Yeah, one of the fun things about my job is that I'm also the president of CREDO Super PAC, and we founded CREDO Super PAC at the end of 2011 to fight back against all of the corporate money in politics that are going to groups like the NRA that are deciding elections all across the country and taking the decision of who elects our leaders away from the voters and putting it in the hands of corporate interests who are just willing to flow obscene amounts of money into these races. And one of the things the first thing that we did after the 2012 election, where we helped defeat 5 Republican incumbents in the House, was take a look at this special election that was happening in Illinois' 2nd Congressional District, which is the Chicago South suburbs and south side of Chicago. And there was a Democratic primary shaping up, and it's a very Democratic congressional district, so whoever won the primary was going to be in Congress, and probably in Congress for a very long time. And it's considered a safe seat, and incumbents enjoy a tremendous advantage in these races. And so it was an open seat, and we saw that there were 3 leading candidates in the primary in a field of 17. 2 of them had A ratings from the NRA, and 1 of them had an F rating from the NRA. And the race was getting some national attention in part because Bloomberg has a super PAC, and he was spending a lot of money running negative ads to try and defeat the front runner, a woman named Debbie Halverson, who'd been in Congress before, who was very proud of her A rating from the NRA. And she was starting to go down in the polls as a result of this negative air war funded by the Bloomberg Super PAC. But we also noticed that as she was coming down, there was the other A-rated candidate, Toy Hutchinson, was actually coming up in the polls. And we also looked at the dynamics of the race, and we said, they're doing a lot of negative ads, but this is going to be, it's going to be a turnout. It's going to be an election where not a lot of people are going to turn out. It's February in Chicago. It's really cold. There's nothing else on the ballot. It's a special election. Maybe 20% of the voters are going to turn out. Now, negative ads are very good at suppressing the vote, getting people not to vote. But they don't do a very good job of actually turning out the vote. And so we said, Bloomberg's spending $1 million, but we could have just as big of an effect if we spend 100,000 votes and we actually have people going door to door. So we set up 2 canvases, and we had people go door to door, and we knocked on 20,000 doors with a very strong message to women likely primary voters, with a message to vote against both of the A-rated NRA candidates. And then our friends at Daily Kos, who had been involved in this before we were, they ran a fundraising campaign for the F-rated candidate, Robin Kelly, to help give her the money to do turnout on that race. And so it was this really amazing combination of progressive groups getting involved on the ground where we know our money can make a huge difference. We're always looking for, we're never going to have as much money as the other guys. We're never going to have as much money that we're willing to pour into politics, whether it's a Michael Bloomberg or whether it's a Sheldon Adelson. But what we do have is we have research and we have people, and we have the ability to do the asymmetrical campaigns that have a much higher impact for lower dollar spent when you combine it with the kind of person-to-person contact that we know wins elections and that also strengthens our democracy. So we went in there, set up these canvases, and at the end of the day, we crushed both of the NRA A-rated candidates, and it was a landslide for the F-rated candidate from the NRA, Robin Kelly, and that set up the national fight over legislation for preventing gun violence, the assault weapons ban, the background checks, making arms trafficking a federal crime, so that we can send a message to Washington, D.C. that right now or before that election, if you're a congressman in D.C., you think, oh, if I go against the NRA, they're gonna come after me in my primary. That's going to be expensive. I don't want to do it. I'm just going to lay low on this. But now the message is, if you vote with the NRA and against your constituents, then not only are you going to have Michael Bloomberg after you, but you're going to have an array of progressive groups on the ground like CREDO Action, whether you're a Democrat or whether you're Republican, and they're going to come for you, right? And so we wanted to make sure that we sent a message before federal legislation came up that there will be an accountability moment no matter what party you are in if you vote with the NRA on guns.
And I should say that one of the side benefits, I think, because I know that this is just the beginning of these type of interventions, I guess, going forward. One of the side benefits is that you also I am sure that there is some measure of association with getting an A from the NRA versus progressive policies. So there's a sort of a twofold benefit here. If you're getting an F from the NRA, I would say, and I have no data to back this up, but just my sense is that you're also pretty progressive on a lot of other issues.
I think that's right. I think that the people that are not willing to bend to the corporate influence to support guns at any cost are the kind of people that put the concerns of the voters over the concerns of not just the gun manufacturers, but also of Wall Street and the other corporate interests that are ruining our democracy. So anyone who's got an F rating from the NRA has got an A rating in my book.
So now, when you guys are contemplating 2014 and I assume, are you guys in the CREDO PAC now? Are you starting to target races that are already starting to develop lists of races where you think that you can leverage the assets that you guys have, which is a dedicated group of activists and enough money to give them the tools that they need in certain districts? Have you guys already started to formulate those lists of those districts?
We're definitely talking to people. We're hearing from our members. We're looking at it. We haven't made any decisions yet. We'd love to hear. Where you think CREDO Super PAC ought to go in 2014. And I can imagine between you and your listeners, you guys probably have some really good ideas for us. And it would be great for us to hear. For us, what we need to go in and make a difference in the race is we need a lot of local progressives who want to work to win, so that we can go with them and set something up and help make them be more powerful. So we'd love to hear from your listeners. And in fact, you could send me an email at Becky@CREDOmobile.com if you're listening to this and you have a congressional race that's coming up, and you know that there's a group of local progressives who not only want to see different representation in your district, but you know that there's a core group of people that are willing to do the hard work it takes to beat these Tea Party Republicans. And I'd love to hear your suggestions, Becky@CREDOmobile.com.